And here we are again at the Myrna and Jenn Read the Apocrypha. We have been having such a good time understanding this stuff, reading all of this. We're glad that you're joining with us. If you really are enjoying us, please like us, subscribe. It'll get our podcast out there a little more for other people to discover and enjoy. And we're glad to be jumping back into Jubilees. To give you a little bit at this point, we've talked a bit about Noah and his family coming off the ark, and they've kind of spread out a little bit, having their own cities. And at this point, Noah has talked with all of his sons, and they kind of took an oath last time that basically they would, take all that he has said and live by it. However, I think we will see in chapter 10, we'll discover, are they doing that? Are they not doing it? Wonders never cease, miracles never cease, and also people making really bad choices in life never ceases.
I think that's the underlying whole story of the Bible. People always make bad choices.
It's
sometime in their life, sometime.
And that is why we have repentance. So, because Heavenly Father knew we were just going to continue at points in our lives to make bad choices. We try not to, we think about not doing it, and then we inevitably do. So let's see what choices Noah's sons are making. We are in Jubilees chapter 10. Let's go. I'm starting.
Yes, I would say so.
Here we go. There's a lot in this part, so just be mindful. Verse 1 to 3. And in the third week of this Jubilee, the unclean demons began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah, and to err and destroy them. And the sons of Noah came to Noah their father, and they told him concerning the demons which were leading astray and blinding and slaying his sons' sons. And he prayed before the Lord his God and said, so this is the prayer Noah gave to God. God of the spirits of all flesh, who hast shown mercy unto me, and hast saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, and hast not caused me to perish as thou didst the sons of perdition. For thy grace has been great towards me, and great has been thy mercy to my soul. Let thy grace be lift up upon my sons, and let not wicked spirits rule over them, lest they should destroy them from the earth. All right. I'll admit, he had me at unclean demons began to lead the children astray.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the...
We haven't heard really unclean demons before.
Well, didn't we do some...
Oh, yeah, we did.
Of demons, and they were sent off?
Yes, that is true. So the unclean demons, I don't know why I think of them as little, probably because of all the pictures I have in my head of like little demons. Like, they're always tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why do we always picture them tiny? I just want them to have a little bit of influence, so I think of them as little. But the demons began to lead the children of the sons of Noah astray and err and destroy them. All right, so I'm going to say that didn't take very long, not very long at all, for there to be demons leading Noah's kids astray. They made an oath, and then bam.
I think it's interesting in verse 2 where it says, and slaying his sons of sons.
Yes. The demons are killing his children?
Yeah, that seems really interesting. It's like we talked about last time. Sometimes God's power is simply not stepping in and saving us, right? Because I would think he would not let them.
Right, you would think he would be like demons.
Kind of power, right?
Yes.
You can only go to this point, right?
Right.
but he doesn't. And ever since we had that discussion, I've seen God in a different light, in that I think he gives us what we need to know to make all the choices we need to make correctly in this life. And then he steps back. I would even venture to say that there's very few times, and I'm talking very few times, he steps in and saves people from dying.
Right.
Unless there was like some major thing that they needed to do in order to forward his plan. And I'm talking be a prophet or be,
Right. Those are the only moments, like Prophet Joseph Smith. You have, he was being surrounded by darkness where he thought he was going to die. And then God came in and dispelled it, and he was able to see God the Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, two separate personages. Yeah, otherwise he doesn't step in really. And I mean, how many people have cancer and die from it? And how many people are in accidents and still die from it? Like, even though you've had prayers in the morning to be protected, and you, as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you wear your garments and you know that they can be a protection, but people die all the time.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to take away people that do believe that God has stepped in and saved someone in their family or themselves, okay? I don't want to take away that. But I think sometimes he may have helped things along, but if someone in that process made another choice, I don't think he would step in. And maybe that person was just powerful enough to make their body change, like for cancer, make their body heal itself. I mean, we ourselves have power that we don't even know we have.
Correct.
And maybe he helps that power take over. And so that's not him stepping in. It's us being able to see our ability and power through him to do our own bidding. Right?
Yes.
So I don't want to take that away, but I also want to have people to see that there are times where he doesn't step in. And I think there's really very few times that he does. That's just my feeling. The more I'm learning about him and more I'm trying to understand the way he dealt with his people on this earth, I don't think he steps in as often as we think he has. That's just my opinion.
And I'm going to agree with that opinion as well. And if anyone out there disagrees with this, by all means, disagree with Myrna and Jenn.
Yeah, because I think that we give him responsibility for things, when in reality, it's our own ability to lean on our power through him. Okay, so he's still involved because he has the power, but it's us invoking that power that we have ability to do so that makes it happen. It's not him interfering
in it,
in the process of this life.
Right. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
Direct interference.
Sometimes I don't think we realize that what made it happen was us intervening and calling on his power to have it happen. That it's not him, it's us using his power. I don't know.
I would love somebody else to chime in and tell us what you think, really. I can't, some of this is so hard on occasion to be like, and you have to understand that there's this game. This is a little personal in the weeds moment. There's a game that my daughter plays. A lot of her friends play called Journey. And it's about this little character that you play and go around with, and they collect light, and they're like children of light. But the first time I just was glancing by it, it's this like hooded figure. And to tease my daughter, I'm like, it looks like a demon baby. And she laughs and she's like, it's all about light and goodness and all of this, but I call it the demon baby game. And so I'm starting to read, and it's like, the demons killed my baby. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. And I will let the audience know. I did go ahead and look up a demon killed my child in Google search. And you'd be surprised what comes up, or maybe not surprised. Mom says demons made her kill her son. 4-year-old girl killed to exorcise demon. Accused killer of mother and baby blames demon for crime. Okay, it's out there.
Well, yeah.
And you hear those stories and go, it's a cop-out, right? Okay. Yeah. However, we're reading this, and we know that there are evil spirits that can manifest things. And I'm like, were the demons out about killing your children? Yeah. I don't know. Like we've said before, we're reading the Apocrypha. This doesn't mean that for me, or I think I can speak for Myrna here, that we believe everything we're reading.
Yeah.
And yet there's some things where it's like, wow, all right. The demons are out and about and are having a few interactions with the children of Noah. And some of them have been dying, and he gave a really nice prayer talking about mercy and grace, and asking that the wicked spirits not rule over them. Well, let's see what happens because of this prayer.
Yeah. All right. 4 through 6. And the prayer is continued. He hasn't finished it. Mm-hmm. But do thou bless me and my sons, that we may increase and multiply and replenish the earth. And thou knowest how thy watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. And as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation, and let them not bring destruction on the sons of thy servant, my God, for these are malignant and created in order to destroy. And let them not rule over the spirits of the living, for thou alone canst exercise dominion over them. And let them not have power over the sons of the righteous from henceforth and forever.
Okay. So he's asking God.
I say that he knows what God can. He seems to know what God can and cannot do.
Right, because he knows that the demons have been killing his like grandchildren.
Yeah.
And he's now saying, God, only you thou alone canst exercise dominion over these demons.
Yeah, and so it seems like that in 5 he says, and thou knowest how thy watchers, the fathers of these spirits. Yeah. So the watchers are the fathers of these demons. Of what they're calling demons. Right. Which I don't necessarily think that it means the same as what we think
think of as demons. These are the children or grandchildren, possibly, or great-grandchildren of the watchers that have mingled with the each other or the children of men.
Yeah.
These watchers, man, they keep coming up. Okay, and he actually then continues his prayer. And the Lord in 7, and the Lord our God bade us to bind all. Okay.
And so he ended his prayer and he says, the Lord
bind them.
Tells us to bind them.
Whatever that fully means. Do you think that means like actually physically bind them? Or does it
I think temporarily, probably.
temporarily? All right. So they have the ability to bind them. Okay, in 8 and 9, and the chief of the spirits, Mestama, came and said, Lord, Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice, and do all that I shall say unto them. For if some of them are not left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. For these are for corruption and leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And he said, let the 10th part of them remain before him, and let 9 parts descend into the place of condemnation.
So, okay.
I'm feeling so ignorant right now
So
of this being in the Apocrypha.
Okay, you type faster than I said.
Okay.
Do.
Yep.
Ask who Mastema is. I'm wondering if it's Satan. Or is it someone that he has put in charge of the earth?
Okay, 1 second. Mastamot or Masamot is an evil angel in the Book of Jubilees. He first appears in the literature of the Second Temple period as a personification of the Hebrew word mastama, meaning hatred, hostility, enmity, or persecution.
Okay. So someone doing or some type of something doing Satan's bidding.
Yes, that's what it seems like.
So it's not him. Because
no,
heaven forbid he actually work.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't very nice. I'm sorry. That really wasn't very nice. Oh man, I really am sorry. I'm sorry, Heavenly
Oh my
Father.
gosh, Myrna, that made me laugh
nice.
and
That wasn't
everything.
very nice, Heavenly Father. I am so sorry. But he did, like I said in the past,
Yeah.
he comes from a house that is organized, right? Like we hear in the scriptures, God's house is a house of order. So he's going to organize his house. And this is one of those things that he has organized. I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it's like 10% get to stay, and the other 90 are gonna go into the place of condemnation. Or is that considered hell? Ish, like the other realm? Because it's descending into the place of condemnation. Or is this really?
Well, that's, I don't know.
I don't know.
I do not know, because it wouldn't be his bidding to put them there. So it could possibly be, quote, hell, because God is sending them away.
I'm looking up here. If I can see if anything comes up with place of condemnation. Nothing is really coming up for it.
Okay.
I don't know. But it's interesting that it's the chief of those spirits, of those demons, that is coming and saying, hey, Lord Creator, I'm going to ask that a part of us stay and the rest you can put in the place of condemnation. And let's see.
Well, he knows they're not doing right? He knows, because he says that they were built for, they were made for destruction, right?
Yes, they were made for destruction. So wouldn't you want all of them to leave? I mean, this is the chief evil spirit, per se, the chief little demon. He's like, so God, Can 10% of us stay and the rest of us you can take somewhere else? And how do you choose that 10%? I don't know. It's just interesting, and I will let you know, every time you see 10% in the scriptures, I always think of tithing. So it's kind of weird. Like, oh,
Yeah,
why did you choose 10%?
It's interesting. I think this is just my opinion.
Myrna's
He's been given a job, right?
Yes, he has.
From Satan, right? So to speak. I'm not sure I would want to go back to him without finishing my job. So if they all have to go, you can't finish your job.
Okay.
So he's just asking for the ability to finish his job.
I like that you're siding for a second with the chief demon that he needs to get his job done.
Well, I'm not sure I would want to go back and say, you sent me on this errand and I didn't
do it at all.
Although you would again blame someone else for not finishing your job, just like Satan blames someone else for not doing right that he was supposed to do. So it would be in their nature to do that.
Interesting.
But it seems that he wants to do his job.
Okay.
I'm not like siding with him. I'm trying to understand him.
I know you are. It's okay, Myrna. If you want to side with them, we can take sides here.
Well, I'll just tell you, sometimes I think that that's a little more fun than being good all the time.
I know. It's all right.
All right.
I just find it interesting. So let's move on here to 10 to 12.
Right.
Me, it's you.
Yeah, it's me. And one of us, he commanded that we should teach Noah all of their medicines. For he knew that they would not walk in uprightness nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. All the malignant, evil ones we bound in the place of condemnation, and 1/10 part of them we left, that they might be subject before Satan on the earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their diseases, together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth.
Okay.
So they must not ever got hurt because they've never had to do anything.
We had that kind of come up earlier, didn't we? That there was something about them not understanding death.
Right. With Adam.
That it was like this brand new thing. And we were wondering, so does no one ever get hurt or anything? This kind of answers that question, that their bodies, as long as they were doing what was right for God, their bodies seemed to heal themselves. They were doing what our bodies are supposed to do.
Yeah.
And not getting sick or diseased. It's only because of iniquity, not following God, that happens. And these these demons are teaching them about medicine because they needed to help their own bodies. So wow, that explains that question from earlier. But also like they're learning this medicine from demons. I don't know why that's so weird for my brain. Okay. I feel like I need to process this chapter.
I'm not sure that they're learning that from the demons. Because it says, in the Lord our God bade us to bind all.
Yes.
So there are parts of Noah's family here doing the binding.
Yes.
I believe there are, or either it's that, or it is part of the Lord's angels that he is asking to bind. And so then he's asking them to teach Noah about the medicine. It doesn't sound to me like he's having the evil spirits teaching about the medicine.
All right.
It
So
sounds
then,
to me, it's like, I think it's the angels that he is asking to teach him the medicine.
all right. I'll let
I
you
could
have
be
that
wrong
one.
though. I could be wrong though.
I'll let you have that one. That makes more sense to me. Someone is teaching Noah all their medicines. They needed to be more explicit about who one of us he commanded that we should teach Noah all their medicines.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, we have read that knowledge, the knowledge of things, is coming from God's angels.
Correct.
Well, it was coming from the Watchers, but we know how that turned out.
Well, I think the Watchers were his angels.
Were his angels before
they made the choice to mate with
the humans,
the daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then they became the Watchers, which are probably not quite his angels anymore. They're kind of
right,
unless they repent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of sounds like whoever he asked to bind all, meaning
right,
all of the evil spirits,
and send them to condemnation. Someone had to have the power to do that.
Yeah, he asked him to be bound, and then there was this decision, okay, a 10th can stay, the others could go. So then there had to be a shifting of the binding, right? The ones had to go and the others can stay. So it looks to me from what I'm reading.
That's fine. I can stand.
Not.
I can stand corrected. I like your version.
That's just what it looks like to me, but I don't know.
We're going to say an angel came and taught him about it because he knew his children, especially with the 10th of those demons running around, that he was going to need to understand if they weren't going to walk in uprightness, that they needed to understand medicine and how to help their bodies. Yes, and that would make sense that is how we got knowledge about medicine, because I'm sorry, if you want to try and sell me on the evolution of man and that they just randomly put things in their mouth and discovered what it did to help them, that to me has never sat well. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. How do you know that herb takes away pain if you make it into a little poultice? How do you don't know those things? That is not just going to randomly come together.
No.
So I like that version, that medicine knowledge comes from in the herbs comes from God.
And then over time, what we've kept, right?
Yeah, what we've kept and lost and all those things in between.
And what has been renewed through, I believe, inspiration of men and women that have gained knowledge about the body.
I agree, because there are lots of people out there that have gone back into the old ways and will say this works way better than that to help heal your body. All those new things it's like they're being refound. The knowledge is being rediscovered now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so 12 to 14.
13.
Sorry, 12.
13, 14, and 15.
Oh, that's what I meant. 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And Noah wrote down all things in a book as we instructed him concerning every kind of medicine. Thus the evil spirits were precluded from hurting the sons of Noah. Ooh. And he gave all that he had written to Shem, his eldest son, for he loved him exceedingly above all his sons. And Noah slept with his fathers and was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat.
So in other words, Noah died.
Yep. So he wrote it all down and passed it on to Shem. But I'm going to say, I don't know, he loved him exceedingly above all his sons. That always causes problems.
Yeah, but I want to tell people that Yeah, I mean, I've only had one child, but I believe it's true. I believe there's always one that you get along with better and that you like better.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from personalities getting along, or that child being, more righteous in the sense more following what you've asked to be done,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's good or bad, it's what you ask, right? So for people to say that, I don't have a favorite child, I really think that they're not telling the truth. I'm not saying that you're going to treat them differently.
Right. But you
But
might just get along like you have
exactly.
friends and you get along with some more than others.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There is
Love,
always one
yeah.
that you get along with better, that you do love a little bit more because you get along better. And so that's just what I have to say.
Mm-hmm. I do find
I
it
come from a
interesting.
family of 6 girls, but
Yes.
I know there was a favorite.
Ah, every family knows there was a favorite.
Yes.
I find
And
it
that's
interesting.
okay. It's
It's
okay now,
okay. And now
right?
it is.
Mhm.
Okay. I do find it interesting here that he was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat. So it tells you where he was buried.
Mhm.
Okay. So Noah has passed away.
It's
Let's
interesting how much power that sentence has.
Mhm.
And Noah slept with his fathers and was buried in on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat.
Mhm.
That in me provoked a little sadness.
It did actually. I was
Yeah,
like, he slept
and
with
so
his fathers was a beautiful way of saying it.
saying he returned to his fathers,
Mhm.
right? It
Mhm.
it just kind of sends this little bit of sadness, and finality of a era, so to speak.
Yeah, it totally did. And we already know a little bit about his sons and all the land being divided up, but it keeps saying that his sons struggled with it, their righteousness.
Yeah.
And so Noah's death, it feels like that that last truly righteous man is now gone.
Well, it invokes to me that idea of, hang on, here we go.
Yeah. He's
That
gone and
the
what's about to
person that
happen?
has been holding
Holding. Mhm.
control of
Mhm.
God's laws is
Mhm.
gone now.
Yep.
And here we go. The roller
Mhm.
coaster has left the building.
Yep. And let's see what happens.
Okay. Let's see. 950 years he completed in his life, 19 jubilees and 2 weeks and 5 years. And in his life on earth, he excelled the children of men. Is that's the
Yep.
right word, right? Excel.
Mhm.
The children of men save Enoch because of the righteousness wherein he was perfect. For Enoch's office was ordained for a testimony to the generations of the world, so that he should recount all the deeds of generations unto generations till the day of judgment. And in the 13th Jubilee, in the first year, in the second week, Peleg took to himself a wife whose name was Loman, the daughter of Sinar, and she bare him a son on the 4th year of this week. And he called his name Reu, for he said, behold, the children of men have become evil through the wicked purpose of building for themselves a city and a tower in the land of Shinar. Now
Mm-mm.
that's where they built Babel, right? In Shinar.
1 second. Mm. Um Babylon draws its name from the term of Babylon fusion. Bavel. So yeah, Babylon are different names. So according to here, the area or city of Babylon derives its name from the term for Babel or confusion, which is Bavel in ancient Hebrew. So yes, Shinar and Babylon are different names for the same place.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I remember Shinar.
Nicely recalled.
I love verse 17 because if I am reading it correct, what he is saying is Noah is the next perfect person or prophet to Enoch at this time. Wow, that's saying something.
How righteous Noah was.
Yes.
And as another little tidbit, if you're thinking like the land of Shinar, where is it in today? In today's countries of Iraq, almost entirely, Kuwait, a northern part of it, and Iran, a little western part of it. So almost completely Iraq. According to the online searches.
Okay. I think we're going to the Tower of Babel now.
I think we might be.
Okay.
Okay. City and tower in the land of Shinar. For they departed from the land of Ararat eastward to Shinar. For in his days they built, and remember this is Peleg here. For in his days they built the city and the tower, saying, Go to, let us ascend thereby into heaven. And they began to build, and in the 4th week they made brick with fire, and the brick served them for stone, and the clay with which they cemented them together was asphalt, which comes out of the sea and out of the fountains of water in the land of Shinar. And they built it 43 years were they building it. Its breadth was 203 bricks, and the height of a brick was the third of one. Its height amounted to 5,433 cubits and 2 palms, and the extent of one wall was 13 stades, and of the other 30 stades. So 30 stades.
Wow.
In feet. 6,000, just a little over 6,000. 30 stades is about 6,000 feet.
I think that's interesting. They had enough gumption to keep doing this for 43 years.
Yes, they did.
That's a long time to be on the same project.
It is a long time to be on the same project. But how long did it take for the Salt Lake City temple construction?
That took 40 years. But they had to bury the foundation and then they had to unbury it.
Yeah, so 40 years to complete the temple. But I mean, maybe they had sandstorms come across where it got buried and they had to unbury it. I just find it interesting that the Salt Lake Temple took just about as much time as the Tower of Babel. Interesting. That is a long time to be on a project. Like it really could be, okay, maybe not back in these times because obviously how long they lived, Noah was 950 years. But it could have been a person's lifetime, like 10 years old at the Salt Lake Temple, and by 50 they have, getting into older age back then.
They didn't live very much.
No, they didn't.
Longer than 50 back then.
So it
because
could have
it's
been
a hard life.
It could have been a person's life.
But again,
resolve.
We have talked about how in order for them to be this 950 years, and at one point when we did read, they did mention that they were calculating this in God's years.
Yes.
Right. And so is that 40 years God's years?
Yes, or
is that incomparable to our years? Does that make sense?
Very
because
true.
if it's only 40 of his years,
that was a split second.
That wasn't very long.
No, they just kind of went, we're brick masons.
Yeah.
But it was big. The Tower of Babel was big.
Oh, it was tall.
Yeah.
I mean,
why?
And the thing is you would have to sleep up there, would you not? Because you wouldn't, by the time you got down, it would be time to go back up to be up there at the top again to do your job.
Fit. I don't know. That is quite the journey, I'll just say.
I mean,
it took some time.
You could be fit, but it still takes time, right? So
it does.
Anyway, the things I think about. Okay. Let's go on here. And the Lord our God said unto us, behold, they are one people, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be withholden from them. Go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech, and they may be dispersed into cities and nations, and one purpose will no longer abide with them till the day of judgment. And the Lord descended, and we descended with him to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. And he confounded their language, and they no longer understood one another's speech. And they ceased then to build the city and the tower for this reason. Oh, sorry. So then they stopped building the seat and the tower.
Okay. The phrasing "let us go down" is interesting. Like God sent messengers down or angels down, and their purpose was to confound their language.
Mm-hmm.
The crazy thing is this, and one purpose will no longer abide with them till the day of judgment. The world will not all be with one purpose and one mind until the day of judgment because of that moment.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That was a pivotal moment.
Yeah. That's an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he asks us to be of one mind, one purpose.
Mm-hmm. One heart, one mind, one purpose. That we have to now, it's almost like we have to actively work towards that. It's not just existing. We have to do some work towards it.
Yeah.
Now, as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we get a little tidbit of this moment in the Book of Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Where the brother of Jared, if I am correct, is at the time of the Tower of Babel. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he describes for a moment that the languages were confounded, and he prayed that they would be able to understand each other, him and his family.
Yeah, that his family would be.
And the Lord, and his family, and I believe friends. And so this group of people, the Lord was like, sure, that's my version of it, said yes and granted that desire so that they understood each other.
Right.
And then they traveled together and eventually also built a boat like Nephi to a degree and came across the waters. I just find it fascinating that they're building this tower and the confounding of the languages to no longer be of one, because I guess, I mean, I've never thought about it, but as Americans, we all speak English.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we're united together in a way because we have a common language among us.
Mm-hmm.
We understand each other, what we're saying. But you cannot, like, with Spanish, Myrna, you cannot do direct translations of some things.
Right.
It just doesn't go that way. The way some concepts are thought of, it's a uniquely French thing or Spanish thing, or
you translate concepts or ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You don't translate word for word.
Yeah, because that would not be helpful all the time.
Mm-mm. And that's understood because jokes don't transfer back and forth.
No, jokes don't work back and forth.
They don't.
Which is fascinating. So I could see how if you no longer speak the same language, you're now separate. And you're going to have language barriers with one another, which create maybe physical barriers because you want to be all with your people who understand you.
Yes.
So very interesting.
Yeah. Here's where my mind is going. Mm-hmm. It's confused, first of all. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I always thought, and evidently I was not listening to what I was reading in the Book of Mormon, but I always thought God made the tower fall and then confounded their language.
No, I don't ever remember the tower being broken.
But it doesn't say anything about that. Mm-hmm. And it says that he had people come down with him and they confounded the languages. So my mind is going, Myrna, were you really even listening? And you were reading. But I'm wondering if, I know there is the scripture that says the tower fell. And I don't know if it's talking about later after it sat there long enough, it starts to, decay and fall. Or exactly what it is, why my mind has these two things put together. But yes, I like this because my brain was thinking of God comes down and he's all upset because they want to come to him. They want to get to him rather than, I think he wants to come to us. He doesn't want us coming to him. He wants to come to us. He wants us to ask him to come, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly what that difference for him is, I don't really know. So I always thought he got all upset, knocks it over, confounds their languages, teaches them a lesson, right? and has them move on. So this is a totally different story than my brain has always thought was what happened.
So because the idea of God destroying the Tower of Babel isn't exactly, that's not fully accurate according to the scriptural context.
Yeah.
But some people, as I've been looking little things up, some people have said it's kind of a creative way to stop them from building it. Confound the language. Now they can't talk to one another to continue the construction. Yeah. How do you do that when you don't even know what somebody's saying at this point?
Right.
And people scattered being in their kind of language groups, which if you actually study languages, you actually see interesting patterns.
Yeah.
So, especially when it comes to certain words.
Yeah.
Okay. It's you. Oh.
No, it's you. 25.
25. For this reason, to the whole land of Shinar is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound all the language of the children of men, and from thence they were dispersed into their cities, each according to his language and his nation. And the Lord sent a mighty wind against the tower, and overthrew it upon the earth. And behold, it was between Asher and Babylon in the land of Shinar, and they called its name Overthrow. In the 4th week, in the 1st year, in the beginning thereof, in the 4th and 30th Jubilee, were they dispersed from the land of Shinar.
So he does destroy it.
According to this account, a wind destroys the tower.
Brought by God.
Brought by God. And a mighty wind. But everyone moved off according to their
languages
and his nation.
And made their cities. They dispersed into cities by their languages and nations.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's interesting.
I know. And there we have civilizations growing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. In the 4th week in the first year, in the beginning. Oh.
28.
Okay, 28, I will start. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon in the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west. Am I okay?
Yeah, I was just saying, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Problems are brewing.
Yeah. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, his brothers, said unto him, Thou hast settled in a land which is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. For if thou doest do so, thou and thy sons will fall on the land and be accursed through sedition. For by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will thy children fall, and thou shalt be rooted out forever.
So sedition, for those who don't know, is a conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it was an act of sedition. It was rebellion.
It was, because it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't his.
It wasn't his.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. And wasn't that warned upon at the very beginning? You all are going to get your lot, and that is your lot.
That was the promise.
That was the promise.
Ham and his brothers.
Mm-hmm. If you just take of this land and the lots that you've been given, you will be good. There won't be wars. There shouldn't be problems.
Right.
But if you take something that's not yours, there's going to be a problem. And in the beginning, go ahead. Canaan. Why is it always Canaan?
Well, it's always Canaan because we know the end of the story.
Yes, we do.
I think if we didn't know the end of the story, I don't know that we would be saying, oh, see, look, it's Canaan. Right? It would be, oh, that's interesting. Right?
I mean, we talked about him much earlier. We had a complete podcast. You should listen to it. I think it's one of our best on talking about what happened, why Canaan was, why there was a problem with him, and
why there was a curse on him.
Why there was a curse on him. And I feel like we're still getting that behavior from him of like, you cursed me. I am a child that I'm being in most cases a bastard child.
Yeah, I was going to say
a bastard child, and
I'm going to do whatever I want.
Attitude because of it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
You guys did whatever you wanted, and made me.
You didn't really care about me.
I got cursed, and so hey, this land looks really good. I'm going to sit here.
Yeah.
So we will see the consequences of that.
Yeah.
The command, dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not hearken unto them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon, from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons, until this day.
Okay, so they're cursing him again.
Yeah. Dude, there was an oath that happened between the holy judge and Noah, and you're breaking it, man. So you're going to get cursed.
I have to say, the first curse really was not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is.
This one is.
This one is
Mm-hmm.
his fault. So, okay. This is where you say, oh, Canaan, 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 Canaan.
Canaan, 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 Canaan.
Okay. And for this reason, that land is named Canaan. And Japheth and his sons went towards the sea and dwelt in the land of their portion. And Madai saw the land of the sea, and it did not please him. And he begged a portion from Ham and Asher and Arpachshad, his wife's brother. And he dwelt in the land of Media, near to his wife's brother, until this day. And he called his dwelling place and the dwelling place of his sons Media, after the name of their father, Media, or Madai,
Mm-hmm.
whichever way they pronounced it at that time.
Mm-hmm. So, if I get this right, Canaan was supposed to get he did get a portion, but he's like, you know what? I don't really like that one. This one over here is better. I'm going to claim it as my own.
Right.
And then you have Madai saw the land of the sea, and he didn't like the sea. He didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, Ham, Asher, come on. I would like something else. And he ends up dwelling there, but it looks like he got permission somewhat to be there.
Well, he's still in his father's land.
Right.
Right. Because Ham and Asher that he's talking to are his brothers. Japheth named one of his sons Ham.
Yes.
So Ham and Asher are his brothers.
His children.
And so he's still going to Japheth's land. So it's not as bad as Canaan. Canaan went all the way over to Shem's land.
Where he's
so
just
he didn't even stay in Ham's portion. Right.
Right. Because this Ham, Asher, and Apocryphal are the sons of Japheth. So basically, he went to his brothers and said, Madai went to his brothers and said, hey, can I have a portion over here because I don't like the sea?
Yeah.
And Canaan just took over land. So there should, at this point, be a portion of land that nobody's in.
Yeah.
Because Canaan's like, nah, I don't like that. I'm just taking this. I'm gonna suggest this is gonna cause problems.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's gonna cause some problems.
It makes me wonder, because this is all written later.
Right.
It makes me wonder if even Medea choosing something different than what his father gave to him, even though he ends up with permission, it kind of makes me wonder if there is problems in that space also, as well. Even though it's within his family's space. Maybe
if
those
the brothers are not as happy.
Yeah, maybe they're like, oh, well, we don't want to make dad mad, so we'll go ahead and say it's okay, but we really don't want it to be, right? It makes me wonder if down the road we're going to have some problems. We already know the problems with the land of Canaan, but what's the land of Medea going to,
and it's just going to be interesting to see how the Apocrypha writes about some of that, because to this day there is enmity excuse me, there's enmity between countries.
Yeah.
There's enmity there, and it feels like it goes back to this. The world was allotted, and now look.
Yeah, I think that we think it goes back to, just Israel and Babylon, but it seems to go more down to this thing more so than the other, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting as we keep reading. I do glance over things as we go, but I prefer to have just a gut reaction as we're doing some of this to as we go along, because I want to have the experience with the audience of, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was in there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is causing trouble. It's brewing right here. It's right here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it'll be interesting moving forward, because I feel like we just hit a pivotal moment. Noah's gone. His sons aren't doing what they're supposed to, and people are taking land that they're not supposed to. Trouble.
Yeah.
They don't even need the 10% of demons.
Yeah, they didn't need them to help them cause problems.
They don't need that. They are causing their own problems.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I thank you guys for being with us for chapter 10 today. And as always, like, subscribe, and join us on this journey, and share it to other people that you think might find this topic interesting. We're loving it. And we're loving the discovery, I think, and just getting more knowledge and information, and being able to search things and research things a little. I find it fascinating. So I hope you guys continue on the journey with us, and we will see you next time. And thanks for joining us on Myrna and Jenn Read the Apocrypha. And as always, Apocrypha rules.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.